Video games are much like any other media out there. Some of these games go on to be masterpieces that shape generations for years to come. And some of them are Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Not all of them are cinema. But much like media, there is no better piece of gaming out there that can outbeat those that means something to an individual. Games that have impacted us in one way or another. They can be either classics like Mario, Zelda, or Sonic, or something more modern like a Call of Duty, Team Fortress 2, or Fortnite. From timeless gems to famous indies, there's always something that means something. Even Bubsy can mean something. There is someone out there where Bubsy is their sentimental game. What I'm getting at is that video games are special, and any game or series that you can think of could mean the world to someone. And it's why I'm making this video to talk to you guys about the franchise that means the most to me. Sometimes it's hard for me to convey how important this game is. When I was a babby, I had an N64 and a PlayStation, but mainly I played on the N64. And with that, the game I played the most was the original Super Smash Bros. You know, it's kind of funny looking back because I remember that I never knew how to do the intricate moves of up and B to do a different attack. I was not a smart child, but I also remember how great it felt by beating the game on very easy, and being able to defeat Master Hand with the help of my main man Kirby, and then go on to unlock Jigglypuff. Which then I proceed to erase my files so I can do it again. Smash has always been an integral part of my life. Back when I was 8, I got Melee for the first time at one of my birthdays, and to this day, that was one of the best presents I've ever received. Melee fucking rocked. Then I remember getting a Nintendo Wii and a copy of Super Smash Bros. Brawl. After I had to deal with getting 2 shots in a row, which, that wasn't fun. And when I got my first part-time job working at a Party City, I saved up all of my paychecks in order to get a 3DS, and you guessed it, Super Mario 3D Land. Oh yeah, and the newest Smash Brothers. So it's because of that, whenever a new Nintendo console comes out, I make sure to get it just for the sole purpose of getting the next Super Smash Bros. And with the newest entry of the series, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's, well... a bit of a big deal, I should say. Ultimate was the Smash hype train cranked up to 11. This wasn't just a game, it was a landmark. Doing some incredible things like bringing back everyone from the past games, and I do mean everyone, to having unique classic modes, a ton of stages, a shitload of music, and a story mode that was... there. It's clear that Sakurai and the team went above and beyond when it came to this entry, and made something that, by all means, would be improbable to ever see happen again at this magnitude. Especially since the man himself is semi-retired and now living his dream as a YouTuber. But you know what, let's cut the crap. The tagline of "Everyone is here" and "Celebration of Gaming" might be the main headline of this game, but it's not the real reason we were glued to stuff like maintenance schedulings of all things. No, it was because we were more anticipating who was gonna be added to the fight, who was gonna be next to be bored by Kirby, and it was insane on the characters we got. The hype factor was at maximum with this one. And this is why we're here today, because I always wanted to do something of this caliber, and Smash would be the best starting point. I wanted to do a top whatever. Top 5, top 10, top 1, one of those lists. So hey, I decided why not make it a top whatever on the newcomers of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. What could go wrong? So with this announcement comes 3 things that you should really know about this list. Number 1, this list will be based on my overall opinion and hype of the character, rather than how they play. What I mean by that is these tier lists, these glorious tier lists right here, fuck them. I want to make this list a fair assessment of the characters, and not if they can be banned from tournaments. Also, the reason I'm choosing not to do it by how much I play them is the fact that I don't play all the newcomers. Mainly because there's like over 80 other characters or something. So yeah, this list will rank characters for a number of reasons, but all of it will go towards the characters' inclusion, and not if I play them over my boy DDD. Number 2, which is more for the Echo Fighters, but I will compare them to their counterparts. Since they're characters that are supposed to play somewhat similar to other characters, I will have to judge them via who would I choose first if I had to. And number 3, because I thought these were cool and so did everyone else, I'm going to be adding Deluxe Mii costumes. Now, Deluxe Miis are a fan term, so the definition can be a bit loose, but for this list, I'm gonna be going for the costumes that were part of the Mii showcases, and if they have a hat or something that looks like a certain character, that would completely cover up their pod person faces. Basically, if they look like the character rather than the Mii, it counts. Meaning Sans from Undertale, Cuphead, Vault Boy, Creeper and Pig, Bomberman, and Doomslayer are gonna be on this list. If I missed one, well, crap. And with all that said, that leaves us a list of 28 entries. Hey, remember when Sakurai said that this entry would likely not have a lot of characters in it? Then this game went on to have the most newcomers in any entry this far. Life is funny sometimes. So for the next couple of weeks, expect a new video per day that will be counting down my top favorite fighters to join the ultimate fight. Why one per day? Unless you're watching the compilation right now. Well, my dear viewer, it's because YouTube really likes constant uploads and clout is good. So, that. Oh yeah, and before I forget, an important disclaimer that this list is my own list, or as the internet likes to put it, the wrong opinion. So if you wish to continue to watch this, then you're contractually obligated not to burn me on the cross because my list doesn't validate your opinion. I mean, I doubt that would stop you, so just please don't hurt me for this. So now just sit back, relax, and let's just start this thing as we celebrate Smash Ultimate being 5 years old already. Jesus Christ, where did the time go? As I present to you all, the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Top 28 Newcomer Special. Hi, it's me, Post-DavCav. Before we start this video, I just want to let you know that if you notice that I started censoring my swear words in the beginning, and then suddenly kind of dropped doing that, well, that's because this entire thing took a year to make, and in the beginning of last year, YouTube kind of had a kerfuffle about swearing. and now they don't kind of, but not really. I don't know, YouTube's just a weird site that changes the rules every day. So yeah, enjoy the duck sounds for the first 18 entries. Yeah, I got nothing else. Enjoy the compilation. Well, we all knew this one would happen, and I want to go on record saying, I tried. I really didn't want to put them on the bottom of the list, but let's be real. Yeah, I think everyone that was keeping up with Smash can agree that this was the most disappointing entry. Not bad per se, nor out of left field, just
disappointed!
And to preference this, I might probably be the only Smash fan to say I don't hate Fire Emblem. I just don't care for it. Yes, Fire Emblem is tied with Pokemon with the amount of reps the game has, and many people do believe that this is not much of a big hitter title, but do keep in mind that a good amount of them wouldn't have returned if they weren't bringing back every single character from the last games. And also to note, you Barsages wanted Roy back in the last game. So no, I don't hate Byleth because they're another Fire Emblem character. Nor do I hate them because they're another Swordman, because let's be honest, swords are kind of a common weapon in fiction. But of course, I do have my problems with the character. For one, oof. I will say personally that Fighter Pass 1 had the best character lineup for the most part. It had a character from the most groundbreaking title of recent years, characters from the most influential RPGs to ever exist, Banjo-Kazooie, and the coolest guy. I'm telling you, this was some Cloud 9 stuff back in the day, and it kept us wondering who was gonna wrap it up. Geno? Master Chief? An even cooler guy? Nope, just this dude. Okay. Their reveal wasn't even that good. Like, they were trying to build this character up with their own presentation, and then we get the trailer that was supposed to clearly be a fake-out similar to Pyra and Isabelle, where it's like, ooh, is it more Three Houses content? Nope, it's Smash Brothers! But you know, it doesn't actually work when you know it's coming. And that we had to wake up at 6 AM on a workday to go and see it. Of course, there are also other factors on why Byleth is so low, mainly because I wish it would have gone to someone else. Not in a, I wish it was the character I wanted, but it's more that Fire Emblem has a bunch of characters to add. There's even some fan-requested characters like Lyn or Hector, and yet they chose the bland protagonist. Again. I mean, they could have gone with the Three Houses poster children as some sort of Pokemon trainer character, cause even though I don't care about FE, the little I have seen of it, I can safely say, yeah, I love Claude. Claude is pretty cool. But sadly, that's not the case, and instead, we got Byleth. But not to be too mean, let's go over some positives. I will say, I do kind of like their design. Mainly the coat cape they're rocking and the female variant's luscious leggings. It's cool that they added other weapons besides the sword, and they have some pretty good music. But besides that, they're pretty bland. Much like their stage in Final Smash. It isn't supposed... Why did I just write isn't suppose? I can't even remember what I was gonna say there. But both those reasons kind of combine with my biggest issue with Byleth. You see, Fire Emblem Three Houses, where Byleth debuted, came out in July of 2019. And then they were revealed as a fighter 6 months later, meaning Byleth's entire existence in Smash is for promotional material that you had to spend for. Now granted, the sales and reviews of Three Houses are positive, and you can argue that every DLC character but one was used to promote newly released games or games coming out, But the thing is, the other characters have at least 2 years of existence before they were revealed, so at that time, a lot of them had some sort of sentimental value. But sadly, Three Houses didn't even get a year before Nintendo forced Byleth to join, similar to Roy and Corrin, but even then, Roy gets somewhat of a pass for me because what was Fire Emblem in 2002 America? And you didn't have to pay extra for him. The first time. So this just makes them more blatant as a product placement character, and to me, that goes against the theme of celebration of gaming's history, and for that reason, it puts Byleth squarely at the bottom. No doubt about it. Byleth from Fire Emblem Three Houses. Available for $59.99. But seriously, the most interesting thing about Byleth to me is that there's a mod out there where you can replace the PNG of Sothis with a picture of Fat Albert. I don't know why Fat Albert in particular, but I can't say this isn't amazing.
Hey, hey, hey!
Each battle, a chance to grow.
You know, it's kind of funny that you can change a lot by giving something a fancy name. Like, oh, you're not eating snails. That's escargot. Oh, that's not a bunch of paint that is thrown onto a canvas. That's abstract. Oh, that's not a fighter with a copy-paste moveset from a pre-existing character plastered on without much change. That's an Echo Fighter. Oh, that's not an Echo Fighter, that's an original character. There was a difference. What do you mean? Yes, for what was once the bane of Smash Brothers became a new concept by slapping a nifty title. And everyone seems to be all for it. Probably because now we realize a lot of games tend to make characters that are just sort of copy-paste of other characters. Like, I mean, they do it a lot. So I feel like giving these characters their own nifty title feels like a good move on the development team. And yet Dr. Mario and the two Links don't count. I mean, you can vouch for the OG Link playing a little differently now, but that's just Mario in a coat. However, even though I think this is a good idea, there is one character I feel like that was more hindered by the fact that they are an Echo Fighter. So much so that it kind of ruined a chance of getting a really cool character. So I think you get the gist of why she's here. Dark Samus is indeed somewhat of a clone, if by clone you mean a reborn Metroid Prime that has taken the form of Samus, but at the same time, she had a lot more in her arsenal. She can make clones, create walls of Phazon, etc. And her assist trophy in Smash 4 showed off that she could do a lot, and there were some pretty cool moves there. But when she came into Ultimate, yeah, we got Samus 2. There are some parts of Dark Samus that are cool, but it's all aesthetic. Yeah, I just feel like making her an Echo Fighter kind of hinders any potential that this character would have. She, by all means, has enough to make her a full-fledged character. But instead, we just get Samus, who is a bit floaty and shoots living missiles. Hell, they didn't even add her theme into this game. Instead, her trailer was given a remix of Brinstar Depths, which is just a remix of Kraid's theme. Not to say it's a bad theme, but it's just kind of pouring salt into the wound. I don't know if it's just me, but after looking at all these characters, it kind of felt like Dark Samus didn't get as much respect as others. Instead, just kind of added in just to have another Metroid character, which is cool, but kind of feels a little empty. Hopefully, if we do get future entries, they might be able to rectify this, but that might not happen. Which, in the end, is just kind of a shame. Dark Samus. Something that could have been a really cool entry, but was a clone that came out a little too similar. Okay, but seriously, she counts as an Echo, but not Pichu? He's literally Pikachu on Suicide Watch! Have you ever lost enjoyment in something? Like, back when you were young, you had this one thing that was really cool. It was something that meant something to you. But now that you've grown and seen how that thing has become, you only feel indifferent towards it. Just seeing something you loved before pass by you with only a cold reminder that things will never return to what it once was, leaving you only with the memories that fade in time. What I'm trying to say is that I used to like Minecraft. Yeah, this one's gonna be controversial. This one was a hard one to list down, not gonna lie. Mainly due to, 1, I fear you guys deeply, and 2, my feelings for Steve and Minecraft as a whole being very complicated. You see, Minecraft came out while I was in high school, and it was seen as a cool niche game that was making the rounds. And after hearing about it, I did what I usually do when I hear about a new video game that seems interesting, and decided to watch videos of it on YouTube. There I discovered creators like the Yogscast and GameChap, and I fell in love with their adventure map episodes and mod showcases. The worlds and stories people create from such a simple game was awesome, and were also more engaging than the actual story mode they came out with. But as time went on and I got older, my interest in Minecraft started to wane by the time it was bought by Microsoft. And then it hit big. I mean, it hit big, becoming the highest selling game of all time, according to Wikipedia, the source that is 100% true facts. And of course, when you're that big on the internet, you tend to spawn stuff like memes, questionable content, more memes, drama, and the worst of humanity creating a cesspool of hatred and anger around it. Or as it's also known as, social media. And those like the Yogscast who went on those custom adventures and had a great time simply faded from the scene. Now the adventure map scenes kinda feel like they take a backseat to people just playing the vanilla version, which honestly I find kind of boring. And even worse, when you check up online for any content on Minecraft, you get a lot of clickbait videos made for children, or even worse, you get stuff like Stinky Steve. This was a thing someone made. And this is someone's fetish. And that's kind of how I feel about Minecraft now. I don't hate it, just feel weirdly melancholy about it. And I know I'm sounding like an old man talking about this, like I'm going, oh, back in my day, we all knew the fun fact that the Enderman was based on the Slenderman. But seriously, it does kind of make me feel old that kids probably don't know who the Slenderman is anymore. But really, I just kind of want to explain my reasoning of when Steve got announced in Smash. I felt nothing but maybe a bit of disbelief and a bit of an eye roll. I mean, granted, I will say presentation-wise, they put Minecraft in Smash. Like, 1 for 1. That's impressive. And I will say, I do like that they added the zombie and enderman skins. That's pretty cool. I don't know, I feel like Steve's inclusion was kind of a meme pick that I really don't find funny. Especially when that meme is this thing. If there's one thing that I think puts Steve this low, it's the fact that it gives this nightmare validation. But most of all, this version of Steve feels more like post-Microsoft Minecraft, and that's not really for me anymore. Now, before I get a sudden pipe bomb in the mail for the heresy I've spoken, let me preference this. If you like Steve's inclusion in Smash, or if he's one of your favorite characters in this game, or even your most favorite, more power to you, man. You found more to this character in this franchise than I could have, and I'm glad you got the character you wanted. As for me, I think I'm gonna go back to my old rocking chair to reminisce about the old days. When Israfel was the shit, Diggy Diggy Hole was a popular song, and whatever was going on here wasn't a thing. Minecraft Steve. Boy, how times have changed. Also, I'm telling you, man, this thing is someone's wet fantasy, and if I can't sleep because of that, then neither can you!
Steve wins!
God damn it, Todd. I'm not very much interested in the Fallout series. I only played the beginning of 3 and New Vegas when I was like a teen, and it didn't do much for me. But I can say the Vault Boy Mii costume is a pretty neat addition to Ultimate. Though I would have preferred the cool armor set on the box art as a costume, Vault Boy himself does kinda fit with the Mii costume design, because he too looks like he lacks a soul. But he is at the 25th spot for good reason. We're getting into the, okay, of the character hype, and like I said before, I'm not really into Fallout. Unless you can shoot missiles and do rocket jumps with a ray gun, then in which case, I think I might need to try these games just for that. But as it stands, this is alright. Vault Boy from Fallout. Cool. Also, I noticed he was added as a costume when they presented the 76th character, Todd!
Umpire wins!
Let's see, okay. I have not played the Xenoblade Chronicles series. This should give you a hint of what's in store. Yes, these two are probably the 4th most predictable characters to get into the game, next to these guys. Sakurai went on the record that there were some characters that were cut from the base roster, due to the fact that these characters were conceived a little too late in Ultimate's development. The characters in question were an ARMS rep and Rex and Pyra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And after the reveal of Min Min, it wasn't too hard to know what was going to come, and for those who didn't think this would happen, were either not paying attention, or they were lying to themselves. Now, even though Rex wasn't part of it, Pyra herself managed to make it in with her sister... self... Don't explain it to me, I wouldn't get it. And the entire Smash fanbase either rejoiced in their favorite boob sword making in, or bitched on Twitter because it wasn't Crash Bandicoot. The fanbase will never be satisfied! And then there was me and my chums, as when it was revealed to be a so desperately wanted character, we all nodded our heads as we felt the same feeling. The feeling of...
dull surprise!
Yeah, as I said in the beginning, I have never played the Xenoblade franchise, and before you go typing in the comments, I'm not interested in playing it right now. Listen, RPGs can be a huge commitment, and I'm already playing 2 by the time of this recording. Plus, I feel like I'd be content of just playing the first one, cause I think the precognition concept is pretty cool. I also kind of like Shulk more than the rest of the cast, and the voice direction isn't trash in the first one. Look, I bet the actors did the best they could, but did no one in the team actually go up and say, yeah, that was fine, but can we, do another take?
Nia, you do know one-eyed monster usually means...
Huh? Means what?
It's, Mithra, why are you blushing?
Shut up!
What the hell is that?
So yeah, these two don't get much for me. But I will say there are some admirable stuff that I like about them, and I'm not talking about their design. Gee, I wonder why the internet likes these two so much. It's stuff like the switching mechanics that give me some classic Zelda vibes. Always good to get a heaping injection of nostalgia, I can say that. And even though I don't have much intention to play the games anytime soon, I can at least give credit where credit is due. The music fucking slaps. Stuff like the battle music and You Will Recall Our Names are just so damn good fighting music. But then again, I don't think anyone can beat So yeah, that's what I really think about them. Don't hate them, nor do I care about them. Just straight in the middle. But hey, at least they're in the game, and after all the signs of their inclusion being inevitable, it would have been weird if they didn't show up. Pyra and Mithra, a duo that fits right in. But you know, poor Rex. I didn't think you can get downgraded from a costume. Now he's just the equivalent of saying, GET WRECKED!
Pyra wins!
Power the Aegis!
Hi, post-DavCav once again. This will be the last time I do this. So yeah, originally for this entry, I started out by singing the Grinch song in order to talk about the infamous Grinch leak. But apparently singing about how the Grinch was a total prick for making up a fake leak is just straight up copyrighted. Meaning that the Grinch leak is canon. But yeah, I left the original up, so if you want to hear it, you can go there, but yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. Oh boy, so this is how you end Smash, huh? This was another character that was kind of predictable. We knew a Sun and Moon rep was going to happen, but we weren't sure who. Characters like Decidueye and Incineroar were being thrown around while I was in the corner wishing it could be the trash Pikachu. I mean, look at this thing. Look at this guy. I know he can kill Ganondorf. But during the last presentation for the base game, Sakurai revealed Incineroar, loud and proud next to Ken, and I felt disappointed. Yeah, it's the same problem with Byleth. He only exists to promote Sun and Moon, and to save him for last, it kinda makes it a whimper of an ending. But of course, Incineroar beats Byleth for 3 reasons. For one, Sun and Moon came out 2 years before his announcement, so we had enough time to know him. B, I didn't have to pay extra for this character. And finally, he's more interesting than Byleth. Even though I would have wanted Mimikyu or Decidueye, the latter actually was considered by Sakurai, I can't say Incineroar was a bad choice. I mean, he's the Pokemon equivalent of Macho Man Randy Savage. He poses every time he lands a hit, and he does the Red Cyclone. What's not to love? So yeah, with that, I feel like Incineroar gets a good 6 out of 10. Still don't like that he just serves to tell you that, hey, Sun and Moon are out. Go buy it. No, oh shit, no, never mind. Buy this one. Oh fuck, now this one's out? Oh god. But at least he has something interesting with his wrestling motif. All in all, good stuff. Incineroar. Okay, it's time to talk about the elephant in the room. Whoa. Yeah, you know that little ditty I did in the beginning? I didn't do that to be funny. Okay, I did do it to be funny, but there's a point. You see, I can't really think about Incineroar without thinking about the Grinch. And for those who don't know, the infamous Grinch leak was one of, if not the biggest hoaxes in Smash history. It was a blurry image of the Ultimate banner with every character announced at the time, with a few notable additions. Those additions were Ken from Street Fighter, Banjo-Kazooie, Geno from Super Mario RPG, Shadow the Hedgehog, Isaac from Golden Sun, the Chorus Men from Rhythm Heaven, and Mach Rider. Now, blurry photos in this series is usually seen as an obvious red flag because you can fake anything with Photoshop and a shaky cam, but there were just so many points for it to be real. Like it had diagrams to make it look like it was promotional material. Plus, people have noticed that there were some pictures of the Illumination version of the Grinch around that no one has ever seen before outside this photo, which became the reason why it was referred to as the Grinch leak. And of course, the choices were of characters that have been heavily requested or have some sort of history with the franchise as cut content. When this thing came out, it started some very big debates on its legitimacy. But come November 1st, many were clenched in excitement for the smorgasbord of characters, and at least we had Ken? Safe to say, a lot of dreams were crushed at that time. Not helping that Isaac and Shadow were reduced to assist trophies. Seriously, my heart pours out to you fans, you definitely did not deserve that blow. And in the end, we were left to end Smash with a promotional character for the newest Pokemon. Really had to save this one for last, huh? Now, this isn't really Incineroar's fault, nor is it the Smash team. It was whoever made this. No, seriously, fuck you. But it did sadly kind of cement this character with the whole fiasco. And luckily in the end, we were able to get Ken and Banjo, but damn it, think of what could have been! What else is there to say but Incineroar? Cool enough to step into the ring, but clearly not the dream match we wanted.
Incineroar wins!
You know, we're pretty into this list right now, and I just want to get this off my chest. I still don't hate Fire Emblem. Indeed, Chrom is finally in Smash. As a clone of another clone. Yeah, so Chrom is considered an Echo Fighter to Roy, who is a semi-clone of Marth. But I already brought up the strange branding with Dark Samus, so I'm not gonna tread the same ground. Okay, that's a bold-faced lie, but I'm not gonna be talking about it this instant. Now, Chrom's inclusion came from two factors, with one of them being the fan demand, and by that, I mean the trailer for Robin and Lucina from Smash 4. Chrom said,
I suppose I'll get my chance another day.
And people memed that to shit. And it's because of that is how he was added. And this won't be the last time someone was added because of memes. And for the second reason, he was added as a sort of Japanese-friendly pick for Echo Fighters next to Dark Samus. And this too will not be the last time someone was picked for that reason. But as a character, for me, Chrom is fine. He has at least two things that separate him from Roy, such as that he has a different up special and his final smash is a little bit more cinematic. But, you know, I still prefer his counterpart, if not for some melee nostalgia. But not that voice. This is not how I thought Roy would sound in English? What is this?
I won't lose!
But all in all, not a bad inclusion. Chrom from Fire Emblem. Glad you can finally get your chance today.
Anything to change!
So, I think we're now at the point where we're getting the characters that I genuinely give the universal response of, oh, Neat. Where we get characters where I like their inclusion well enough, but I'm not gonna be jumping out of my seat for. And I feel like the character that completely encapsulates my feelings of neutral approval would have to be... Oh, neat. So, I've never really played Animal Crossing. I played a little bit on the GameCube, and didn't know what the heck I was doing, because I was like 10, so I'd never really given it a full shot. And besides, I have too much in my life to really dedicate to a game like Animal Crossing. Look, I'm a YouTuber and I'm reading One Piece. I have a lot on my plate right now. But I wouldn't be amiss to admit that Isabelle's inclusion was nice. Being the sort of new poster child of the recent Animal Crossing games and a fan favorite, her getting into Smash really felt like a shoo-in. Plus, it probably did help that she was an assist trophy in the last game, so it was probably easier to make an existing model out of that. And when she was announced, I thought it was fine. Not jumping for joy, but I welcome her because, look at her. She's adorable. Like, if anything happens to her, I will kill all of you and then myself levels of adorable. Really, the only sin she caused, along with Dark Samus, was the hope for other assist trophies like Shadow, Skull Kid, and Isaac to maybe be promoted to an actual fighter. Oh dear God, that last presentation was a slaughter of dreams. And as for her gameplay, she almost falls into the "how are you not an Echo Fighter" camp. But at least her kit has a lot more differences than the villager to make her not a complete clone. Can't say the same thing about Ganondorf. Yeah, a fancy sword doesn't change the fact that you're Captain Falcon with bad cardio. But overall, I feel like her inclusion was harmless. Decent. I liked it, but f*** me, the memes of her being a death god were just funny, especially with the Doom stuff. That will somehow always be funny to me. Isabelle from Animal Crossing. Neat. And also, even though I never really played an Animal Crossing, I can at least say... Pedro is best boy, f*** the cat.
Isabelle wins!
So Masahiro Sakurai has shown a lot of love when it comes to this game's roster. Almost every character in this game has been chosen for the sake of video game fans. Because he truly just wants to bring people together and make their dreams come true, even if they're a simple costume. However, there are just times where he does add a character and we all have to kind of go, okay, so you're just f***ing with us right now, aren't ya? If there was ever an asshole of an inclusion. Now, Sakurai explained that he deliberately chose this character as a sort of pre-order bonus for anyone who wanted to get the game early. An extra character that he said that anyone can easily recognize, which, to a point, yeah, that makes sense. You can tell this thing is from Mario. But this feels like a very left-field inclusion of a character. Like, did Sakurai just run into Nintendo headquarters with a fucking sickle and demand the plant to be in his wacky fanfic game? Or did he just pick this one out of the Goblet of Fire?
Piranha Plant!
Like, out of every Mario baddie, like Goombas, Koopa Troopas, and of course God's Gift from the Heavens, aka Shy Guys, they chose Piranha Plant. Like, I'm not complaining, just... this is a very out there pick. And of course, it was revealed at the last presentation before the game came out, and well, His inclusion was mixed at the time, mainly because that last presentation was a red wedding moment when it came to character speculation. But now that time has passed, I think we can all agree, yeah, this was kind of funny. We've had some wildcard picks in the past, like Captain Falcon and Ness in Smash 64, Mr. Game & Watch, Rob, the Wii Fit Trainer, the fucking Duck Hunt Dog. But I think Piranha Plant might be the most random choice for a character slot thus far. The only thing I can think can top it might just be Wario's appendix. But until that could happen, Piranha Plant, probably the strangest addition we'll ever see. And also to note, hey, Petey's here as well. That's neat. But real talk, I am serious about adding Wario's appendix. Let's see if we can get that trending in the next Smash.
Piranha Plant wins.
I got nothing on this one. This is just funny.
It wins.
So Smash has a lot of wildcard characters throughout this series. The what the f**k inclusions that you would have never seen coming. But at the same time, there are those characters. The ones that wouldn't be more obvious that they were joining if they put up a neon sign in a foreboding cave telling you they're coming in. You know the characters, the ones that actually make you go, you know, I'd be surprised if they didn't show up at this time. Which is why Bandana Waddle Dee's lack of an inclusion is still an enigma to me. I mean, he's gone from NPC to Player 4 to even Player 2, so what the f**k? What I'm trying to say is when Nintendo tries to push a character or franchise, then you'll know they'll be showing up in stuff like Super Smash Bros. So that's why I'm a little glad that the team didn't leave us hanging and started out the new Smash Bros. Along with these guys. I mean, come on. There's no denying that Splatoon has been the Big N's newest big major IP in years. Like, I think the last one of these that actually meant something to them was like, I don't know, Animal Crossing? And that started out in 2001. So it was safe to assume that when we were thinking about who was gonna get into the next Smash, the Inklings were gonna be in it no matter what. But the way they got in was probably the best way possible. It was March 2018. We got a new Nintendo Direct which ended off with some stuff about Splatoon 2. Stuff like new clothes, stages, and a new single-player campaign. But at the very end, we had a little teaser, where we see two Inklings duking it out into the white void. When suddenly things started to get dark, almost threatening. Then one of them turns their head around, where they become face to face with... Oh, now this is just beautiful. So yeah, instead of Smash introducing a new character like usual, it was a character introducing the new Smash Brothers. And starting with the most obvious choice first is what really made it perfect. Because they were included before the title of the game was even announced to us. Now, I know I've been talking about the reveal trailer this whole time, but my overall thoughts on the Inklings themselves, they're fine. Haven't really played any of the Splatoon games as of yet, but at least I can say yeah, Big Man is best girl. But I also like how the game implements inking the stage as a thing, and that the different colors for the characters are the different cosmetics you can get in the game. But overall, neat. Really, I put them this high up because of their reveal. It was just perfect the way they started things off, and you know, I might actually get Splatoon 3 sometime, because come on, big man. But as it stands, their expected inclusion into this huge crossover was at least a welcomed one. The Inklings. Truly a good start to a great entry.
Inkling win.
Okay, so I don't know what's gonna happen to me by putting this character so low. I mean, I already put Steve near the bottom of this list, so I'm gonna be having people coming at my neck at all times. But this one might dock me some gamer points and maybe piss off the community for this, so please understand, because my ultimate reasoning for this one being ranked here is as follows. Okay. Oh, jeez. I have never played Final Fantasy VII. Please don't hurt me.
Sephiroth. この時を待ちわびたぞ。さあ、南東に絶望を送ってやろう。
Look, what can I say? I was a Nintendo kid in the late 90s and early 2000s. I only knew the Marrow and the Pokemans. So because of that, I've only known Final Fantasy VII through osmosis, of it being the game with the emo characters, where that one girl gets stabbed and it's super sad, and and that's why it's the bestest game in the world. So yeah, I didn't know much about Final Fantasy VII until Team 4-Star created the Machina Bridge series. And I know I'm gonna get on someone's shit list, but to me, I prefer this over actually playing the original. I'm sorry, Barret and Red 13's relationship shines brighter than any of this game's franchise could ever offer.
Now here I stand, armless, friendless, and homeless, but not talking dog best friendless.
Oh my god, we're best friends?
Yeah.
And to be honest, FF7 is a game, or game franchise, dearest lord, that never really appealed to me. I don't know, maybe it's because it looks like an anime I wouldn't care much to watch, or maybe it's just the stigma of edgelord that, after years of seeing so many Sonic OCs on Newgrounds, I kind of got sick of it. But really, thinking about it, I don't know if this type of game is for me. Now Final Fantasy IX, however, so hopefully, but probably won't help me for what's to come. This explains my feelings towards FF7 and why Sephiroth's inclusion into Smash doesn't really do much for me. That being said, holy shit. Look, I have opinions, but I'm not stupid. Final Fantasy VII is the game that truly put the RPGs on the map. And even though I don't consider Sephiroth on the same levels for me as Bowser, Eggman, and most importantly, still doesn't mean he ain't a big deal, because he definitely is. I mean, his trailer was probably one of the best because of the big dick energy that was radiating off him as he just kills the big bad and goes, "Sup, fuckers, it's time for the bonus boss. You ain't ready." This is a character that makes you feel like an actual boss in a video game, and even though I said he doesn't do much for me as a character, yeah, there are things that make him a cool addition. Those being his threatening aura from the start of the match to the end screen, and that he finally gives Final Fantasy more music. This was definitely the franchise that was lacking the most in this game when it came to content. But more importantly, they gave us One Winged Angel, practically the ultimate final boss theme of any video game, and they also tagged along the movie version. Which begs the question, Saki man, you've added a song from a silly movie, but you've yet to add Meaning of Truth from the F-Zero anime. Why must you deprive me of its glory? And though I'm not a big fan of the fact that the majority of content is just from Final Fantasy VII, and there's zero mentions of any other game in the franchise like Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy IX, or Final Fantasy IX, I can still say this character and what he brings is definitely welcomed. Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. You may not be my top villain, but you're still the big deal. But seriously, Squeenix, can you stop oversaturating with all the Final Fantasy VII stuff? Just give 9 a chance, please! Yeah, baby! We're getting more Steiner!
Sephiroth wins!
So we've been talking about a lot of obvious choices when it comes to characters in Smash. Some of these were definitely welcomed additions, and others were Byleth. But out of all the characters that anyone could see coming a mile away, this pick might actually be the one to take the cake. Because even though this one franchise was a safe bet to get into Smash, at least we can say that Sakurai threw us a bit of a stretch this time. Though it was very short-lived, ARMS was definitely a game that Nintendo wanted people to know that it was a new IP, and was originally gonna be in Smash, but because of timing, they couldn't implement an ARMS character into the game. So TLC it was! But the funny thing is that they didn't go for the obvious choice of the poster children of the game. They didn't just throw in Springman and or Ribbon Girl. They just kept the choice vague for a few months until the Sakurai Presents trailer, in which then they revealed that the one to represent ARMS was the fan-favorite character and the winner of the 2019 ARMS tournament, Min Min. This for me was a very interesting way to implement a character that was clearly added by the Big N for marketing reasons, because they also chose to at least see what the fans kind of thought was the most popular. They didn't just throw in Springman in and call it a day. They actively went out of their way to see who was popping, and they just said, yeah, that, we need that. And you know what? I'm glad it was Min Min. I honestly like her character design and her Makoto-esque energy she gives off, and that her trailer also features Captain Falcon just deep-throating noodles, and then he wears a cute apron. Overall, I just find her cute, and I'm glad she was chosen. Though I've yet to really try ARMS, which, at this point, I can at least say I enjoyed her inclusion, as it also disproved the whole spirits can't be fighters amalgamation that we made up, and pretended that it was a fact. And it also paved the way for spirits to get in as fighters, like Pyra and Mithra. And that's it. Not gonna lie, that's a little disappointing. But as it stands, her being a wildcard pick and her unique playstyle makes her the best type of product placement you can do, even if the player base hates her guts. What else can I say but Min Min from ARMS, showing that you don't need to be the face of the franchise to get into Smash. Also, I'm serious about Captain Falcon just fucking going all out on those noodles. And also that this is the most we've gotten out of F-Zero in, almost 2 decades. Just down in noodles. Now I feel sad. Yeah, boy, top 15! Let's start it off with Best Girl! Woo! You see, I'm just a Luigi at heart. I like me the color green, I'm the tall baby brother in my family, I am absolutely terrified of anything and everything. And I like Daisy. I've always had the soft spot for the tomboy princess. Her boisterous attitude is something I find more appealing than the blank piece of drywall. But when it came to the idea of adding her into a Smash game, not gonna lie, I didn't think much of it. That is, until Sakurai decided to rebrand all them clones as Echo Fighters, and by that I mean just Dark Pit and Lucina. The Toon Link is just Young Link, and just by doing that, everyone, for some reason, was on board for the idea. Suddenly, clone characters were all the rage, despite everyone hating them in the last couple of games. And I'm not really complaining, just, you know, a little confused on the fandom's mentality. But anyway, when Sakipaki Kirby Man flaunted a new name tag at us, he decided to show off a new character under the moniker, and lo and behold, it's the Cooler Peach. Really, Daisy was a character that was destined to be an Echo Fighter. Nintendo has always treated her as a sort of player 2 to Peach throughout the side games, and when it comes to Smash Brothers, a literal palette swap. But with a new title, she is now her own fighter, while still being a palette swap. And of course, it should be obvious who I choose between the two. One just exists, and the other can and will step on me, so there you go. But yeah, Daisy from Super Mario. Definitely best girl. And I didn't even make a high on Daisy joke throughout this. I am so proud of myself. Do you know what would be great? Seeing Ganondorf get decapitated and shoved up Pikachu's anus with a grenade strapped onto him. But you know, complimentary prize is good too. Hey look, it's a big fan favorite character relegated to a costume that people now consider as a death sentence. Throw that into the pile. So I like Doom. I played the 2016 version, Eternal is on the docket of games I need to play, and I thought it'd be pretty cool to see the Doomslayer playable in Smash. I mean, you can make the argument against him for... But this is the game where you can just snap a dude's neck 3 times, and they just shrug it off like they're goddamn Popeye or something. So I doubt violence wouldn't be an issue for this guy to get into the game. However, that's not the case, and we get a costume for the Mii character. And even though this can definitely be seen as disappointing, it's still kind of cool that he got added into the game at all. I mean, Master Chief didn't even get a PNG, so there's that. And really, that's all I gotta say about this. Doomslayer from Doom. At least there's some rip and tear. But could we have gotten at least one cool track from the original game?
Doomslayer wins!
So, me costumes. Yeah, we have another one. These things are little cute cosmetics that usually garner 3 different types of reactions. The, "oh, that's pretty neat" response. The sudden feeling that your heart just got ripped out and been thrown into a blender. Or it can be something that is so hyped that it actually eclipses an announced character. Which, case in point... I mean, when your character is Byleth, any costume would be more hype. You see, Cuphead, much like a later entry, was one of the few times where even though he was confirmed as a costume, people loved it. Because for one, it gives indie games a little bit more recognition, and also that, well, Cuphead really does work as a Mii Gunner. With any special you can equip on him, you can claim is game accurate. Heck, they even made the gun arm his finger. That's just amazing. It's great to see indie games find their way into the biggest celebration of gaming. And even more so, he came with a bonus song, unlike most other costumes. Probably because indie devs are easier and cheaper to negotiate with, which in turn makes it a really cool bonus. And in the end, I'm very much glad that this character made it in. Even if he is a costume. What else is there to say but Cuphead? A true knockout costume.
Cuphead wins!
Okay, so this will be the last Mii Deluxe for a while, I promise. Hey, it's my favorite thing! Disappointment! But at least he's here! While the interwebs was throwing a primordial shit fit over the funny purple guy becoming a sis trophy again, I was over here on the side going, oh, Bombermans didn't make it this time. Well, at least there's hope for Rayman and Geno. Oh god, it hurts! But I digress. Bomberman not being playable was a huge bummer, cause I love Bomberman. While I have not played the majority of the games, I've always found his character being very appealing to me, and I felt like he should be on the same level of recognition as Mr. Brooklyn, the Fast Rat, the Tin Man, and Pizza Face. But you see, reality's kind of a funny bastard, and this little guy was relegated to an assist trophy, and was sort of forgotten by the majority of the internet because, well, memes. But lo and behold, Sekiro Guy decided to throw us a bone and give some sort of consolation to the White Bomber, as he was given a deluxe Mii costume. So, at least he's somewhat playable, depending on one's definition. And though you can't really get the bomber part of Bomberman with this costume, you can at least get the man part of Bomberman. Or should I say, Bombermen?
Please clap.
Yes, the Bomberman costume gets a little special extra, as depending on what color your Mii shirt is, you would become one of the other Bomberman brothers. Which kinda makes this one of, if not the best Mii costume when it comes to presentation. And you know what? I feel like that's at least something for the fans. the Bomberman Mii costume. It might not be what I wanted, but at least it's something. But you know, thinking about it, poor Rayman, this fucker didn't even get a costume. Just got shafted by the proto-minions once again. At least there's this. This is pretty cool.
Bomberman wins!
So set yourself back to 2018. So Smash Ultimate comes out soon, and Sick Car Guy throws us one more presentation, where he shows us a new stand-in for trophies, PNGs, a preview of a sort of story mode, Crushed Dreams, and the reveal of the last base roster character, Incineroar. Then he gave us a plant. Yeah, not gonna lie, the last presentation before the game's release was underwhelming, to say the least. Showing that the final non-DLC character was a safe and not-so-hyped choice. And also Ken was there, while also showing that the first DLC, by technicality, being what many agree to be a shitpost, thoughts of future characters were set to a low bar, and there was going to be more, because it was stated that a DLC Fighter Pass was a thing. So with that, expectations were set to Fire Emblem and Pink Gold Peach. And it was in that moment that the Smash devs decided to show us a sneak peek of the frontrunner for Fighter Pass 1. And what did they choose? Well, it was the f***ing nuclear option.
Try to run me through, hold on, think again, don't you know what you're stepping back?
Well, it's the Joker, baby! His neutral special is done! Yeah, I know I'm gonna get a lot of people who would say the Funny Block Man or Mickey McNaruto was the biggest head turner from this game, but I argue that Joker should win the Cloud Strife Award of how is this even happening right now? I mean, remember, Persona at this time was a PlayStation exclusive franchise, with the only times that it took a whiff of a Nintendo console being just two weird spin-offs that weren't the Arc System's fighting game, or the dancing games. What I'm trying to say is Persona is weird, but now here comes Joker from Persona 5 crashing the Game Awards, which probably was the only time the Game Awards actually had a really memorable moment. That was intentional, hashtag fluke guy. This by all means was the greatest way to build hype back up. Persona 5, at the time of this video, is regarded as the best-selling game, not just in the Persona franchise, but the entire Shin Megami Tensei series as a whole. And it was also nominated for Best Game of the Year of 2017, only to be beaten by Proto Sonic Frontiers. So because of that, adding him brought a lot of attention to Smash. Probably even more than ever, which it can also be seen as a detriment, but let's pretend that Twitter, YouTube comments, and literal death threats because Crash Bandicoot wasn't added don't exist, because I want to be happy with the world that I have to sludge through for at least, let's say an hour. Also to note, even though Sakurai went on record to say he has absolutely no sway about who gets into Smash, it's hard not to feel that he actually did have a bit of a sway when it came to Joker's inclusion, because the dude also went on record to tell everyone how much he loves Persona 5, down to even the menu layout of the game. Like, if you ever wondered why Smash Ultimate's UI was so pretty, yeah, it's because of this. And along with Joker's inclusion, like I said, could you tell that he really loves Persona 5? From his stage changing, depending on the music you play, to his unique victory screen with a special font and music change, to the fact that if you land a final smash and your opponent has one stock and a high enough damage, you can instantly win the match with the last shot staying on the results screen. Yeah, there was a lot of affection here. Now, for me personally, well... I have yet to play Persona 5. It's definitely on the list of games that I really need to get into, but, you know, I have a huge docket, and it is a big RPG, so it's gonna take a lot of my time, and that it also has those scenes that I pray to God no one pops into my room for. But Persona 5 does look like a game that I'm actually interested in getting into. Mainly because of the style of the game, and the fact that the main cardboard box stand-in actually looks like he's having fun with a "your daughter calls me daddy too" type of vibe to this guy. Oh yeah, and also the music is Joker from Persona 5, a real left field that set the stage for DLC to come.
That was graceful.
Why hello there! I want to welcome all of you that have made this far to the top 10 entries of this fine list. It must have been a trek to get to this point. I sure think so. It took me a very long time. And to celebrate that we've made it this far, I shall recite to you a quote from one of my favorite novels. Enjoy. Look at this shit weather. What a crappy guidebook. None of the characters are on it. I want to see Disney characters, god damn it. Where the fuck is Mickey? Fuck sake. If there is no Mickey, this shit ain't Disney. End quote.
Let's go.
Now, I don't know if I'm opening a can of worms for putting Sora at number 10, but I'm somewhat confident I'm gonna be okay. Please don't hurt me. So, I will say, when it came to the idea of the last character to be added into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I didn't think any character would fit. I mean, the heavy use of third-party characters for DLC was fucking awesome. But you know, the floodgates have been broken beyond repair. And because of that, there was really no character off the table. Especially after this guy came in. It really felt like there was no real good finale that would leave an impact because everyone wants something different, and no one can agree on the best candidate to end Smash with. Turns out I was wrong! So apparently, because of the fandom, nostalgia, or God help me, people actually like the story, Sora was ranked the highest requested character on the Fighter ballot back in Smash 4. Which, side note, I'm still want to know the full result of that ballot. Just, I want to see how many people voted for shitposts. Tell me how many Shreks there were, Sakurai! Tell me! So because of that, and the fact that we actually got a character affiliated with Disney, the corporate empire of the world, Sora was added as the final DLC character. Which, funny enough, talking about Disney, the company was very supportive on his inclusion, and the only hurdle that had to be dealt with was Nomura, who had a bit of an issue because he thought it would mess up his convoluted fanfiction that he calls lore. So yeah, Sora became the best choice to finally cap off Ultimate, with his two best buddies of Starfruit and Boat. And as for my opinion on Sora finally making it into this silly crossover game with Jigglypuff and Snake, well... Alright. I have played Kingdom Hearts. More specifically, a good amount of the first game, and at least the intro of the second game. I think the games themselves were fine, the gameplay was fun, of what I could remember. The Traverse Town main theme, Hikari, and Dearly Beloved hit hard in my opinion. Well, I don't think it's an opinion because, yeah, you know who wrote them. And the story, past the first game, and when it's not focused on the Disney stuff, is written by a pseudo-edgy teenager who thinks anime is a genre, and that genre is Naruto. Organization 13 is just the Akatsuki, and you can't convince me otherwise. So yeah, I dabbled in Kingdom Hearts for a bit, but I wouldn't say I'm a fan. In fact, when he was revealed with the best song in the franchise, you can fight me on that, overall, I felt very... oh, that's neat. Yeah, there wasn't really any pop-off on my end for Sora. My pals, however, that was probably their hypest moment in the franchise, and really, that's the biggest reason for him being in the top 10. Seeing my mates on Discord lose their absolute minds and getting hyped was just incredibly enjoyable to see, because they got the same feeling I felt when my number 1 was added into this game. And really, that's enough for me to put him so high. Really, the only problems I have with Sora is, one, where the fuck is Hikari? That is like the best song? You couldn't even use it at the outro? I know there's legal stuff, but come on! And the other one being something that I knew would be a contentious issue. And that is, where the fuck is Mickey and friends? Yeah, we got the keychain, but is that really enough? This was always gonna be a damn if you do, damn if you don't situation. If they added Donald and Goofy even as spirits, then oh god, Shrek would be a possibility, nothing is safe. But the thing is, you can't have Kingdom Hearts without Disney. It's kind of like Mario without the power-ups. Disney is a very integral part to Kingdom Hearts, and without it, well then we're stuck with the narrative side of the games, and you all know how I feel about that by now. But as it stands, I think he does deserve to be in the top 10. Sora from Kingdom Hearts. You may have a story I can't wrap around with, you may be missing what makes you special, but if my friends like you, then I like you. But seriously, Sakurai or anyone, please post the bout results. I need to know how many times Goku was submitted that you had to make a public statement about it. I need the numbers!
Sora wins! Yes.
Fighting games. A genre that prides itself on design and skill. But also, fighting games tend to have stories. These stories usually range from the developers didn't think story was important, to they hit biblical levels of complicated lore that would make Kingdom Hearts blush with envy. And of course, talking about complicated storylines in fighting games, there can only be two Mad Kings that top the charts of over-the-top narrative and story arcs, which are Guilty Gear and BlazBlue, but Tekken is definitely a close third.
Get ready for the next battle.
So, what's there to say about Kazuya Mishima? well, I made a video kind of talking about him right here. You can go watch it if you want to see me suffer. But long story short, even though I prefer Bad Grandpa, Kazuya makes sense. He was the poster child of the first Tekken, and he has a lot more moves to him that would make him an easy fighter to implement in Smash. That being said, boy, this guy was probably hard to make. Kazuya is definitely the most technical fighter that Smash has ever seen before. Because Sokka and Rai wanted to capture the essence of Tekken, he gave Kaz a shitload of moves. Like, a shitload of moves. Like, he is the second fighter in this game's history to have a taunt that is also an attack, with the other character who actually have that privilege being... Yahoo! So yeah, you gotta give it to the team for adding so much to this one character, and much like Steve from Minecraft, make him feel like you're actually playing a Tekken character in Smash. Bro, you can pull off a 10-string combo Unga Bunga style, baby! Also, while I'm here, let's talk about his reveal, because I love that this was just one big reference to the fact that the Mishimas really love tossing people off cliffs and volcanoes. And the fact that he just keeps doing it with the other characters, like, in the pile you go, bitch! Then finally ending with Kirby, who just kind of pimps out. Also, we get good-ass Tekken music, including my favorites, Heat Hates Shadow, the Tekken Tag Team theme, and of course, yodeling. And the stage Kazuya comes with is also pretty neat, where you can just destroy the walls to reveal, yes, there is an outside, but more importantly, we get Heihachi just kind of chilling out going, well, it seems like my bastard son is fighting. The hell is that?
Hello, it is I, Heihachi Mishima. Get ready to fuck!
If there was any gripes I had with Kazuya, it's that his victory screen doesn't really have music. I know it's intentional, but it feels off. And of course, there is the biggest problem that Kazuya did not bring. They didn't reference the uncanny smile from the first game. Missed opportunity. But as it stands, this is a solid inclusion, and I'm glad they could represent Tekken in all its glory. Kazuya Mishima, an Iron Pick rep to represent the Iron Fist. And if there's any future Smash developers watching this and need another character for Tekken, I'm just gonna throw this one out here.
Kazuya Mishima wins.
You know, cultures can be very interesting to learn about. This is a vast world we live in with different ideologies and systems. Like, did you know that the drinking age in Germany is 16? And the official legal age of consent in Japan is... Hey, you know what? I'll let you look that one up. It might make you nauseous, but it explains a lot of anime. What I'm getting at is that things are rarely universal, and even small things like entertainment can be vastly different that would make you go, wait, how popular is Dragon Quest in Japan? As big as Mickey Mouse and The Simpsons are here. Heck, it's even bigger than Jesus in Japan, and no, I'm not joking about that last part. It was fascinating to learn how popular this series is. I'm just starting to understand that Japan has a strangely big love for Western fantasy if the millions of isekai pumped out every year doesn't tip you off. But I wasn't ready for the levels of popularity Dragon Quest was. In fact, I think this series might be the reason why Western fantasy is very much popular in good old Nippon. Coined as the granddaddy of JRPGs, Dragon Quest went on to become a cultural phenomenon over there. With anime, a film, a cafe, a theme park, convenience stores, a goddamn museum? I mean, there were reports that lines to get the recent entry, as of this recording, Dragon Quest XI, going over 200 people. Really, I think the only franchise to rival this game is Pokemon. And even then, Pokemon was apparently inspired by Dragon Quest. Also, not to mention that the artwork for the whole shebang is drawn by the guy who draws freaking Goku. What the hell is this franchise? So yeah, out of every franchise to be added in this silly little crossover game with Captain Falcon, this one might be one of the most important ones. But thanks to leaks, we kind of knew what Dragon Quest character was coming, so the real question was, who was gonna represent Dragon Quest? Well, the data mines that people found in Smash called the character Erdrick, which is the name of the hero in Dragon Quest III, but we also can assume that it could have been the hero of Dragon Quest XI, which was the most recent entry during Ultimate's conception that was making its way onto the Switch. Personally, I thought the best way to represent Dragon Quest after doing some research was the hero from 8, since that was the game that got localized in the States, or even throwing it out there, the hero from 4, since that started a lot of spin-offs. But come summer of 2019, and we were shown that yes, it was going to be the new poster child that was going to promote the new game. And the rest that I mentioned. In a surprise twist, we got a Koopaling style character where we get all 4 heroes into one package, each including their own voice actors, including the voice of Todoroki from My Hero Academia, who went on to record that he's both a fan of Dragon Quest and Smash, the OG Link voice actor from the old Smash days, and goddamn Trunks himself. That shit's just funny to me. And it's not just the characters. Everything from the stage that wraps around the entire map of Dragon Quest XI, to having 21 unique spells into one move, to even their final smash involving the other heroes from the other entries coming together to help you out. Yeah, this makes it feel like a celebration of the franchise itself. And this even extends to the music where each hero gets 2 songs from their respective game. And they're all in MIDI, because fuck the composer. Look, I'm not the type of guy to celebrate someone's death. That's just awful, and if you did that, well, you might want to get off Twitter and YouTube. But I will not shed a tear for this guy, even if he made the most beautiful music tracks that ever graced video games. And if you want to know why this guy is the absolute worst, then you can look it up on your own. Start with War Crime Denial. With the hero's reveal and learning about the impact this franchise had, it actually made me go out and buy Dragon Quest XI, and after 100 hours of play, yeah, safe to say I'm a fan, and I'm gladly waiting patiently for the next installment. What else is there to say but the heroes of Dragon Quest? Sometimes, you'll never know how big something is until you take the time to learn. Also, gotta talk about them slimes, because, yeah, I love them. So, we've talked about Echo Fighters a lot on this list, and to be frank, I think they're a really great idea. Yeah, I've poked at the thing, especially how that there's still a bunch of clones that are apparently not Echoes, despite the fact. but I do like the idea of giving a chance to characters that would probably play similar to others without getting backlash from the community. Characters such as Proto Man, Shadow, and Funky Kong, just to name a few. But of course, with a new title such as this, and the description of, yeah, they're clones, but they're super special clones, really only one character came to mind that, more or less, was the right choice to be put under this moniker. Because out of everyone who's been labeled as an Echo Fighter, he was born to be one.
Bring it on!
You know, I talked about my gripes with Incineroar, and especially how he's the last character in the base roster, but I've never complained about Ken. You see, despite being seen as a player 2 skin to Ryu, there were many things to help him stand out to Mr. Karate himself that made him fairly unique. He was cocky, he was expressive, he had a hot wife and a multi-million-dollar business, and now he's being charged for war crimes. And even in the later games, he started to differentiate himself from Ryu by adding a bunch of kicks to his kit and the use of fire. So safe to say, when it comes to Street Fighter, yeah, Ken is up there as one of my favorites. He's just a fun dude, what's not to love about that? And when it came to his inclusion into Smash, well, we were spoiled weeks ago, and was a joint piece with Incineroar, but he was still cool. Yeah, I'm kind of glad that Ken got into this game, and I feel like out of any other Street Fighter that shows up, he's probably the most deserving of it. Blasphemous, I know, but Ken is definitely a character that doesn't get a lot of attention when it comes to crossovers, so the fact that he gets an invite is just satisfying. But that's not the only reason I like Ken being in Smash. It's also because he's the best Echo Fighter in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and is the reason I'm so critical of characters that are basically clones, but have, for some reason, not been labeled as an Echo Fighter. Ken may have Ryu's specials, but everything else is fully unique. His attacks are more focused on kicks, and his Shoryuken has a flame trail. Not to mention that his final smashes are completely different, being the bestest Shoryuken, and quite possibly the best non-cutscene final smash in the game. Really, I have no downsides to Ken. This was just a solid inclusion that, even though he was paired with a disappointing entry, was wholeheartedly welcomed. What else is there to say but Ken from Street Fighter? A man that every Echo Fighter should strive to be.
Challenge me after some practice.
Let's talk about fan communities. Now, many people think that fan communities are just over-obsessed nerds. People that would make huge fusses over anything to do with whatever they're a fan of, and if you were to judge that via social media, then I can see where you get that notion. But the thing is, that's only a small, loud portion of what fan communities are. These are people with huge amount of passion towards something. And when you look at it closely, you can see a lot of people doing amazing things like artwork, fan games, and sometimes just doing something that many would think was impossible. Fans can do some crazy shit. For those not in the know, King K. Rool for a while was under the fan moniker of an impossible character, which is a fancy word for gatekeeping. Impossible characters gain the label for different reasons, with the Kremlin King here being one of the poster childs of such a term, mainly due to the fact that he's obscure? Bro, they put a character that's just Mario in a coat from one game, and a generic virtual instructor that was a side minigame from that one fitness game you bought for your mom. And Duck Hunt Dog. Really, the idea of being obscure should have been thrown out the window years ago. But of course, that's besides the point. Even though I still think it's total bunk. Because even though King K. Rool may have been the Bowser to DK's Mario, after the 2000s, King K. Rool never made an actual appearance outside of maybe a trophy and a costume for Smash 4. With half the reason why being that, well, Nintendo doesn't really do much with Donkey Kong. But I mean, that's kind of similar to every single other title that isn't Mario, Zelda, or Pokemon. But the other reason that we haven't seen him is because Retro, the company behind the DKC Return series, opted to omit the Croc as a central threat in favor of Magic Masks and not K. Rool. Yeah, at this point, it really did feel like no one really cared about King K. Rool. And then this thing came up to allow people to say, no, we still fucking do! Yes, once again, the Fighter's Ballot comes into play. And because of that, we got King K. Rool to make his grand return. And what a return it was. Now, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of this character per se. I never really played the DKC games when I was young, but I did have DK64 without the expansion pack. It was real fun to be told that I couldn't play it, but I will admit when K. Rool hit the scene, goddamn was I excited. He looked like he was gonna be a lot of fun to play. We got one of the best songs in Ultimate, the Gangplank Galleon remix, and that last scene. Oh, that last scene. Dude, you can give me a 10-hour speech about why Sephiroth and Cloud's rivalry is deep and impactful, but man, that scene where K. Rool and DK are charging at each other with the purest form of animosity and determination, leading to a shot with the two, and Diddy, clashing fists that shakes the world. Yeah, no rivalry can compare after that. He by all means was one of the few new characters I was actually hyped to play as when it came to the base game. He felt like you were playing as a boss character, and by God, his goofiness added to my enjoyment. I just like Goofy. But the thing is, my hype could not compare to the hype of the DK fan community. They're the ones who push the K. Rool bandwagon the hardest. Shout out to the Kremlin campaigner on Twitter, one of the biggest names to the charge. Heck, they even made this note and pic that they sent to Sakurai when K. Rool got announced. Come on, you gotta admit, that's really sweet of them. And really, this is what I mean about fan communities. They're just a group of people like you and me who want to show their passion to what they love and perhaps one day get a W such as this. What else is there to say but King K. Rool from Donkey Kong, proving that when people put their hearts to it, they can achieve the impossible. One day, Gino. One day. Oh my God!
King K. Rool wins!
So now we're heading into the top 5, the hypest of the hype. But before we can do that, I want to do a sort of honorable mention. You see, during Smash's development, we had a bunch of fan favorites show up and not be playable. Yes, these are characters that didn't make the cut and were relegated to either an assist trophy or a regular Mii costume. And in the terms of the general fan base, that is considered being dead, massacred, and feel for those that are looking for attention. But you know what, at this point, it's been 2 years after Sora got in, and it kind of hit me. Smash Ultimate is over. The biggest game in the franchise to date is not getting any new content anymore, and characters such as Phoenix Wright, Master Chief, or even Crash Bandicoot didn't even get a PNG. Meaning, even though there were characters that weren't given a playable spot, the team at Sora Unlimited went through all the trouble to at least add them to the ultimate crossover in one way, shape, or form. So for this honorable mentions, I'm gonna be looking at those non-playable fighters and those faceless costumes, not in melancholy or mockery like the rest of the internet, but instead I'm just gonna give them a 1 or 2 sentence compliment as a way to say, hey, at least someone cared enough to get you in the game, because you know what? I like to be happy. Do you like to be happy? I've been on Twitter, I know people like not being happy. So without further ado, allow me to introduce... They kept the blocky design. Respect. They gave him his signature backdash. That is both cool and hilarious. Still has one of the best themes in Smash. That is a sick-ass model of Bomberman. Probably one of the best Zelda villains. Maybe even better than Ganon. Yeah, I said it. Someone on the higher-ups remembered Golden Sun was a thing. Yo, they got one of my favorite Sonic characters in. Yeah, it's nice to see that there's both more Star Fox and Rare reps in this game. Even if it's Star Fox Adventure. Out of every Fire Emblem character out there, this one is definitely my second most wanted. This one is my first most wanted. Best Link Companion. Fight me. You know what? After all these years, I still love you, edgy Sonic. I think we can all agree that this is kind of awesome. Coolest Zelda design. They gave him a final smash. That's pretty cool. I learned about Starfy from Smash Brawl, and I love him. Holy shit, they remembered Joy Mech Fight was a thing. You have one of the coolest designs and the coolest themes. Thank you, Nintendo, for at least remembering Takamaru was a thing. Yeah, no, definite smash. This is the sexiest man to exist in fiction. Yo, they got my boy in! And X vs. Zero, which is the best theme in Mega Man. You can fight me on that. Okay, we're now at the halfway point. Let's all take a pee break and then come back so we can carry on with the Miis. Pee break over! You know, you may not be my favorite assassin, but it's pretty cool that you got in. You know, I thought both of you plus Springman would have been added into this game. And in a sense, I was right. Finally, you can beat the shit out of Pikachu the way it was meant to be. I like Toad. I loved him in the movie. And the fact that he was played by Keegan-Michael Key is still hilarious to me. Oh my god, they remembered Goemon was a thing?! You have no idea how happy I am for that fact. Yeah, Monster Hunter's kind of got the sickest armor designs ever made. I did not expect Arthur would have made an appearance, so this was pretty neat. You can now carry a ratto in your pocket. Mi ratto. Todd Howard is at it again, boys. Now you can replicate a spoiler. You know, it's kind of funny. The first time I seen this guy was in Super Smash Flash. So in a sense, fan games represent. You know, your series might be dead, but at least it got some sort of home here. You know, your series might be dead, but at least you got some sort of home here. You know, your series might be dead, but at least you got some sort of home here. Now you can replicate the feeling of chucking Kazuya off a cliff. I was incredibly sure this character was going to be added into this game. And in a sense, I was right. It's really cool to see more indie reps in this game, and she even came with some music. The dream still continues, boys! We will ride to glory! And that's all I got for this one. I know I missed a bunch of them, but I don't have all the time in the world. So why don't you leave a comment about a character that may have not gone to Smash in a way you wanted, but hey, at least they got into Smash. Also, please be civil, I wish that was a given, but you know YouTube. The honorable mentions. You may call it copium all you want, doesn't change the fact that they were added in some way, shape, or form. Also, one more thing, he may not be a trophy or costume, but I just want to throw this one out there. He got represented in Smash before the Rabbids did this time! Woo! So we finally made it to the top 5. Until now, I would say the reveals so far have been pretty good, but never made me feel anything past pleased. However, these next fighters were definitely the ones that got me to leap out of my seat in pure joy and excitement. These next 5 entries were the ones that made Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for me. And what better way to introduce the hypest of the hype characters with yeah, Castlevania, baby! The NES classic with the nipple-twisting difficulty has finally made it into Super Smash Bros. And I couldn't be any happier. While I wouldn't say I'm a die-hard fan for Castlevania, I do have a soft spot for the series, and really, let's be real, this is one of the most important staples to video games as a whole. I mean, this is truly the franchise when you think Boo Haunted House the video game, with all the ghouls and ghosts you need, and the big baddie of the franchise being the actual factual Dracula. And they played this concept completely straight. For the most part. And even though there are definitely many heroes that come from this franchise, I think we could all agree that out of every character that could be considered for Super Smash Bros., it was gonna be the poster child, Simon Belmont. The bold, the barbaric, the masculine, the feminine, light Yagami looking ass. Oh god. I'd take the Captain N version over that. Okay, so Simon doesn't really have a definitive design outside of this. But you know what, I was still confident that Simon was gonna make it in nonetheless. Mainly because his inclusion kind of got leaked beforehand by 4chan. A beast that, while I can confirm may not start an apocalypse, I can safe to say that 4chan will definitely escalate one. Anyway, even leaked, I was still excited. Castlevania's going to be in Smash. Questions arise like what songs were they gonna use, but more importantly, which version of Simon are we gonna get? Well, come September 2018, where we were greeted to our answer via Luigi trying to survive the residents of Dracula's castle, and then just straight up dying. And then it was here where we got our answer, and it turns out to be the awesome Conan box art design. Oh, thank God we didn't get Buff Yagami. And like, wow, I've mentioned many times during this list about characters that play similar to how they were depicted in their home games, but Simon just feels like the team just plucked him out of Super Castlevania 4 and mapped buttons to his arsenal. I mean, you got the strut, you got the whoop-a-da-wobble-a-beeble-beeble. Plus his stage, Dracula's Castle, is just pure spooky atmosphere with a bunch of monsters to come cameo. And you know what? Let's not forget the fact that they made Dracula a boss in this game. You can fight Dracula as Donkey Kong. This is just some great stuff to behold. And I don't know how they're even gonna top this.
Be gone! You don't belong in this world, monster!
Oh my god, they added Richter as well! That's right, baby, Spot 5 is a 2-for-1 deal. Mainly because trying to judge between these two characters is a little hard than judging a new character to a legacy character, but also because I love them both. Because I'm just hyped that not only did we get 2 characters to represent Castlevania, but one of them was Richter of all characters. Fucking Richter! I mean, that shouldn't be surprising, but Sakurai did go on record that he showed concern about Richter's notoriety in the States, since his debut game, Rondo of Blood, only released in Japan. But dude, I love you, but come on, we all know who Richter is. He's Mr. Die Monster. I don't know, I'm just so happy that not only did Richter get in, but a lot of his moves were implemented both for him and Simon, which surprisingly makes an excellent blend. Yeah, I'll just say, Castlevania's definitely eating good with content in this game. They got Alucard as an assist trophy, they have their own dedicated spirit map for World of Light, and oh, the music. Oh my god, so many tracks. The Belmonts definitely brought not only their needed inclusion, but a massive celebration of what makes Castlevania so great. And as an avid fan, I can't ask for more. Okay, maybe a playable Alucard next time, but that's all! Simon and Richter from Castlevania, showing that not even a curse can ruin this hype train.
Simon Richter wins!
Not too big. 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 Not too big! If you remembered from the King K. Rool placement, I mentioned the fan concept of impossible characters. Fighters that the fans deemed not possible to get into Smash, due to reasons that they made up themselves. And in the midst of Smash speculation, there were 3 prominent characters that were sort of the poster children of impossibility. Those being King K. Rool, as stated before, Geno because of legal oddities and obscurity, and of course, the infamous space pirate of the Metroid universe, Ridley. And now with Ultimate? You know, 2 out of the 3 ain't bad, I guess. But the story between Ridley and Smash actually goes back long into the history of this franchise. You see, back when Super Smash Bros. Melee released, its intro was a pre-rendered cutscene that featured many playable characters, including 3 unlockables: Pichu, Jigglypuff, and Ganondorf. And in this intro, there was about a few seconds that decided to show off a quick bout between Samus and the big purple orphan maker, making many believe that Ridley made it into the game, and you know what? He did! That's a very nice paperweight. So Ridley got the shaft in Melee, but you know what? That had a small amount of characters and most of them were clones. Maybe he'll get his chance next game, and you know what? He did! As 2 bosses, okay, Alright, you know what, that's fine. There's always next game. Stage hazard. Oh, come on! Indeed, Ridley gets the shaft a lot. Not helping was the infamous comment where Sakurai mentions that his gigantic size wouldn't fit as a playable character in Smash. And with that, the Metroid fandom cried, with their only reps being Samus and Armored Samus. And of course, memes. Memes mocking said fans relentlessly, because this is the internet, where people thrive on the sadness of others. And sadly, that was that for the character. Then E3 2018 happened. That E3 was dedicated towards the announcement of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, with every character coming back, new systems, names, and when the entire thing was about to wrap up, we were hit with one more thing. A trailer starring Mario, Mega Man, and Samus, and oh, Super Mario's fucking dead. Well, damn, it looks like Sakurai pedaled back on his statement and finally gave Ridley a chance, thanks in part to the Smash ballot and the righteous bitterness of Metroid fans. Which, on a side note, damn, they be eating good, man. I'm actually happy for the fans. They're getting a lot of stuff, even if it's taking forever. Wish the Mario RPG scene got the same treatment. But anyway, Ridley's here, and damn is he making an impression. Sakurai went on record that he designed Ridley based on the concept of evil. And yeah, evil is the best way to possibly describe this guy. Look, let's be real, every playable villain in Smash either looks like they're coming to steal your lunch money, or they're a villain from an 80s anime. Meanwhile, Ridley here is looking like he wants to know what your spleen tastes like. Every attack he does is made to look brutal, with a final smash that, much like K. Rool, is just an added fuck you to his ironclad orphan rival. They really don't call him the cunning god of death for nothing, that's for sure. No, seriously, that's his official title? This dude is fucking metal. But for everything that stands, Ridley is proof. Proof that if there's enough dedication, you can achieve so much. Maybe not today, maybe not the next installment, but if you keep pushing your passion the best you can, without going crazy, that is, you really need to be better than Twitter, and never letting up your passion no matter what anyone says, you may one day get your wishes met. Ridley from Metroid, proving that there is no dream that is too big. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, you got this, Dav. All right. How in the fuck? Sans? Sans? Oh my god, this is happening. Sakurai actually put Sans Undertale into Smash Brothers in some way, shape, or form. So for those not in the know, which I can only guess to be 4 people by now, this is a meme. No, this is a meme within a meme. The secret boss of the 2014 smash hit indie game Nude Alert, that you could only achieve by killing everyone, really struck a chord in players. Either because of the brutal difficulty, the boss theme itself going harder than anything else, or just because Sans is just a funny guy. Like, hey Sans, give us a pun. Oh, okay, I'll give you a pun. You fucking killed my brother, you piece of shit! Haha! Funny. But of course, let's cut the crap. He didn't get in because Undertale was that good. I mean, it was that good, but that's not the reason. The real reason anyone considered Sans of all characters to be part of Smash is because of the infamous Sans' Nest game theory video. Whereas the title states, it tries to make ties between Sans and Undertale to the game that inspired it the most, Earthbound, which sparked a lot of controversy back in the day, which in turn gave us a lot of memes. Lots and lots and lots of memes. And somehow these memes reached Daddy Sakurai, cause he decided to work with Undertale creator Toby Fox to get the funny Skeleton Man into Smash as a Mii costume. And by work with, I mean Toby was flown to Japan, was driven around personally by Sakurai himself, then he was invited to Sakurai's house to play Super Smash Bros., in which Toby absolutely destroyed him, by what Sakurai implied. And now he runs Sakurai's column in the Japanese magazine Famitsu, where he talked about the idea of a dating game with a living hot dog. Toby Fox is living the most interesting life I have ever seen unfold. This dude is living the dream. But anyway, let's get back to... Now look, I know it might seem hypocritical for putting Steve so low because I saw him as an internet meme, while at the same time putting a character that is an actual meme into the top 3 no less. Well, here's some things you really gotta understand. For one, I'm a human being, and by all means, we are very contradicting individuals. But two, unlike Minecraft, which my interest has completely stagnated for a good while now, I still fucking love Undertale. It's legit a good game, with a lot of characters that were made to fall in love with, so when you decide to be an awful person, it will make you feel like an awful person. So seeing Sans from Undertale just show up unannounced during a Mii showcase, I hadn't had a good laugh like that in a while. This was truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I don't think can be replicated. And by God, they went the extra mile by adding a remix version of Megalovania, a song that originated from a Halloween hack of Earthbound. This thing is getting so fucking surreal right now. Plus, to add on to this, I have been judging these Mii costumes for how accurate they are to making you feel like you're playing the actual character they're based on, and while I'll still stand by that Cuphead is the gold standard of this, Sans just creates a meta. This dude will sometimes give out not even the bare minimum of effort when it comes to anything. So, the thought that he didn't even try to make his own moveset, and instead copy off of someone else, why is this making sense? But at the end of the day, despite the fact that this is definitely a shitpost that somehow manifested into our reality, this makes me happy. Because it's letting us know that the indie scene is just as important. And no matter how stupid it can get, anything can happen when it comes to Smash Brothers. Just, God bless this series. What else is there to say but Sans from Undertale? What a time to be alive. You know, while we were dealing with Ultimate's development, I started to think we were overly obsessed with hype. Yeah, Smash has become a place where big-name characters can be added, but I also view these games as a way to introduce people to games that they probably don't know about yet, and maybe find something they'll love. Heck, for me, Smash got me into games like Dragon Quest, Tekken, and Bayonetta. And it also helped me learn about games that I knew nothing about, like Fire Emblem, Xenoblade, F-Zero, Earthbound, Hell, I'll even admit it, the first Smash Bros. On the N64 was the first time I ever learned about series like Star Fox, Metroid, and Zelda. Nintendo's second biggest IP was first introduced to me by having their main character beat up Yoshi. So I feel like now the Smash fan base is so obsessed with having highly recognized characters getting into this funny video game originally made for kids, we forget that Smash can be more than just a perpetual hype factory. It can lead people to discover whole new franchises to explore and maybe fall in love with. What I'm really trying to say is, y'all go to baby jail. Y'all go to baby jail for not knowing my boy Terry!
Hey, cover!
This right here, this is the hype! I have said it before that my familiarity to the King of Fighters really started around the time of KOF 15. But Terry Bogard, motherfucker, I knew this boy back in my middle school days thanks to the likes of the Fatal Fury motion picture, the 2 OVAs, and the fact that his voice sound bites were absolutely unintentionally funny.
Bang! Right wire! Go bang!
But if I had to be honest, Terry wasn't really on my mind when it came to getting into Super Smash Bros. That is until someone fucked up and leaked that the 4th inclusion to the first Fighter Pass was gonna be an SNK rep. It was at that moment where Terrence Bogard became the character I did not know I really needed in Smash, and the anticipation of his inclusion put me at DEFCON 1. And while this was all happening, people were throwing out other ideas like maybe it's a Metal Slug rep, or for some reason, Nakaruru. But I felt it in my heart, soul, bones, and every orifice that it was going to, nay, had to be, Mr. Terry, are you okay?
Best of!
Bogard. And when his trailer dropped that had so many SNK fighters try to grab the invitation, well, am I okay? Oh, I am more than okay! How can I express my love for this man? Well, for one, his design is legendary, where it's a very simple design, but also very recognizable. His personality is so fucking chill, because he's just a cool dude who likes to fight, play basketball, and video games. And his main adversary, his Bowser, his Eggman, is a weeaboo crime lord called Geese Howard. And oh, the English. So stupid, yet so cool. And oh my god, they do him justice in this game. He gets all his moves, including adding one for his crack shoot. His final smash is just all 3 of his supers at once. And you can perform 2 of these supers when you reach 100% damage. Then you get the KOF Stadium, which is just a banger of a hardcore, no bullshit stage, with so many characters appearing as audience members. They even added Rock before Rock really came back. And then you get the music. SNK music always slaps, and because sometimes life is cool, the Smash team was granted to add 50 songs to be added into the game. 50 songs, a stage, and the coolest dude for $5. That is a steal! Terry's inclusion into Smash was some of the most hypest shit in this game, and I was so surprised that no one knew about him. And now finally, he can get the recognition that he deserves as he tells people to get serious! God, I'm a fucking dork. Oh man, what else is there to say? It's Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury. Let's fucking go! So, by process of elimination, you can guess who the number 1 is, but before I can actually talk about them, I want to talk to you for real. I'm gonna drop the funny man persona for a bit, and just be the actual me for once, because you're gonna need some context for this one. You see, 2019 sucked. Before the year even started, my dad got sick. Like, really sick. And when we went to the doctors to see what it was, they found that it was a tumor in his brain that was slowly growing, and needed to be removed immediately. By all miracles, he survived, but not without some huge costs, which I don't think I want to go into right now. Also at this time, I just finished college, and after my family had all of that dropped on us, one could say it was very overwhelming to say the least. It felt like my life hit a bunch of roadblocks that I've never thought I had to deal with, along with trying to be an actual adult. I didn't know what to do, and my anxiety was at an all-time high. So, at that point, I tried to find some ways to escape for the time being, and Smash Brothers was one of them. I kept my head into Ultimate's progression, and I even got into the speculation scene. But really, all I did was hope and think about characters that I wanted to be added into the game, with one character in particular being one that was pretty adamant about. I will say this, despite the fact that the roster had so many cool additions, don't get me wrong, I never felt that there was that one character that made me so passionate and joyful like I felt throughout the game's series, characters such as Meta Knight, or Bowser, or even Mega Man. I never really got that in Ultimate at that point, and after everything in my life going so awry, I just needed something. Then come June 11th, 2019, and the Nintendo E3 Direct was going live. And at the 38-minute and 20-second mark, I was faced with the one thing I needed the most at that time. And it was a cartoon bear and bird that I haven't seen in years, that made me feel like things were going to be okay. Hey, you two. It's been so long. That's right, Banjo-Kazooie has finally returned after 10 years since their last game, and 19 years since they've been on a Nintendo console, and they're back! Oh my god, they're back! Like I said in the beginning of this list, I'm a Nintendo kid, and the first console I ever had was... And even though the lineup of games I owned were Smash, Mario, Pokemon, and a handful of licensed games, I also rented my fair share of games, because that was a thing back then. And the one that I fondly remember was Banjo-Tooie. Oh yeah, and I also owned Diddy Kong Racing, so I doubly know who Banjo was. But there's no denying that these two characters were practically icons of the N64, with the first game truly defining what a 3D collectathon was, and the second game, while not being on the same level of quality as the first one, managed to up the ante of what the N64 can do with more content added. And you know what? It makes me nostalgic just thinking about it. I mean, you fight a shaman Terminator, what's not to love? At that point, it felt like Banjo-Kazooie were gonna be thick and thin under the Nintendo banner, and hopefully see a grand amount of love as an associate, similar to what the Xenoblade franchise is getting right now. And then Microsoft happened. Yes, Rare Studios, the people behind Banjo-Kazooie and other titles, was bought by Bill Gates in a move that, with modern day context, is terrifyingly foreshadowing. And it was here where things started to turn for the Baron Bird, as they would later release two middling Game Boy Advance titles, the very divisive Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, and then nothing for 10 years. And with that, the Banjo IP was left in a sarcophagus as Rare began changing, with all the original staff members leaving the company, and at the time, Rare was primarily focused on Connect sports games. Yeah, there was no sugarcoating this. The game was over. As beloved as these two were, they were never coming back. This was the reality of things. Just another icon lost to time. No, this was it! The mythical Smash Ballot was where it was at, where we could yell at Nintendo discreetly and actually get something out of it without looking like a huge prick. And yeah, I kind of cheated by submitting 4 different characters for this ballot, but one of them was for our boys. And wait, hold up. The president of Microsoft Gaming is promoting the idea for Banjo getting in? Is this our chance? Are we finally gonna get the happy ending we always wanted? Well, I'm a little bitter over this. Oh my god! We finally did it! After so many years of trying to get anything, I never thought this would be possible! Banjo and Kazooie are in Super Smash Bros. And oh, they look good! They look like an HD update of their N64 renders, thank Christ! It wasn't this! This is an abomination! And oh my god, they brought Grant Kirkhope on board to do a song! The Spiral Mountain remix is just the greatest homage to the duo! Yoko Shinomura, the goddess of gaming OSTs, also did a remix of Treasure Trove Cove! This is delicious! Oh, sad there's no grunty battle, but hey, 100 out of 10 is still good! And oh, Spiral Mountain! It's beautifully remade for this game! You're wrong, JonTron! Mountains can be friends! Sure, it gives you a little vertigo, but it's jam-packed with references galore! Tootie! You've been missing since the first game! Where the hell have you been? And then you get the presentation where Sakurai was just very morbid for no apparent reason, and it was great. He also went on to go say play Banjo-Kazooie on the Xbox. Are you allowed to say that? Oh, who cares, you beautiful bastard! Oh, and then you got the moves, baby! Kazooie can shoot her eggs out for butt and mouth, that can't be healthy. You can use the gun mode from the first-person mini-games. They added the invincible feathers as a move. Their run is just the Talon Trot, and his final smash is the fucking Ginginator! And of course his victory theme is an orchestral remake of the Jiggy theme. I'm so happy! And you know what? This entire list was mainly based on my own opinions on the characters or franchise, and not if I play them against the sea of veteran fighters. Mainly cause I don't play every character, and I wanted this list to feel fair. These guys are my mains. Look, I beg for them, so I'm sticking with them until the very end, because I am not a complete pussy. Because so what if they're low to mid on the tier list? It's Banjo and Kazooie. So what if they lack a real gimmick like most of the DLC characters? It's Banjo and Kazooie! And so what if their moveset is not up to the standards of the competitive scene? It's Banjo-Kazooie! This was my childhood, man, and it came at a time where I needed them the most. And this here is just the true beauty of Super Smash Bros. It's a franchise where you can see stupid shit like Ganondorf getting one-shot by Jigglypuff, and it's a game where it can introduce people to games that they might never have heard of before. But it's also a game franchise that is incredibly magical, where it can make the impossible possible. So whatever character that was added in that somehow made your day, whether it be Steve, Sora, Joker, Ridley, K. Rool, Byleth even, I hope it gave you the same amount of joy and, goddammit, hope that I got from these Scrimblow Bimblow cartoon characters. And if that character hasn't been added in yet, then don't give up the fight, man. Even if your character just seems like it's a legal nightmare or obscure or whatever excuse the internet likes to make up, don't let it bog down on your hopes. But, you know, also don't be a dick about it. We need to be better than Wait, they go by X now? Well, this is gonna make the list awkward. Because let's face it, this is a weird world we live in where the future has not been written. I mean, Bubsy came back. There's a new Toxic Crusader game and movie coming out by the time of this recording. There is now 2 Super Mario RPG remakes, and Banjo-Kazooie made it into Smash after 10 years of silence. So, who knows what the future holds? Maybe this is the start of the Baron Bird's comeback. Maybe all we get is this and Banjo-Kazooie being ported to Switch Online. Heck, I'm not even certain if they're gonna come back in the next game. If there even is a next game. But, as of now, let's just live in the moment and find joy where it counts. And to me, it's with 2 old friends finally reuniting with everyone after all these years. Banjo and Kazooie. Welcome home. And thanks. I needed this. So, that was my very long list on the characters of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This was a Herculean task, not gonna lie. But I'm kind of glad I finally got this out. I really wanted to do something like this, and I'm just happy I was able to make it. Even if it's my terrible opinion, according to the internet. And if you want, you can post your top 5 favorite characters in the comments. You don't have to go overboard like your favorite schmuck here, but that's up to you, man. And hey, maybe I'll do another top whatever or something else like this. I got a couple of ideas circulating in my mind palace, and I don't know, maybe I'll try something out. Also, by contractual obligation, I must ask you to like this video, comment, and subscribe if you want. And that I actually do other videos besides this, and I think they're pretty funny. And you know what, I've been rambling this entire time, so I'm just gonna go take a pee and go to sleep. Okay, bye-bye.